Hello and welcome. I'm Sam Sneed, Yale class of 1972. Yes, just had my 40th reunion, and I'm old. And it's nice to be back at Yale, in this respect virtually, and kind of prepping for and hoping I'll see some of you on February 21st when I'm there actually in person. But I'm well aware that you've got about 35 inches of snow, and of course, like most of us, we like to do these things on our smartphone or perhaps on there's a little product placement for Apple on our tablets. And I recognize in speaking with many of people in the broadcast and program field at Yale that it's hard to drag you all out of your rooms and study carols when you've got your smartphone and your tablet to actually go see something in person. So let me chat a little bit about the topic of this keynote, which is Work in the 21st Century, the 7 Survival Skill Sets. I was last back at Yale spending any particular time for my 40th reunion last June. And in getting ready for that and doing a little YouTube channel with some of our class luminaries, I had been out chatting with one of my classmates from 72, Bing Gordon. And for those of you who don't know, Bing is on the President's Council at Yale and whispers in Rick Levin's ear, and he'll probably be screaming in Saliva's because he knows all about emotional intelligence. But Bing is a partner leading the S Fund, all things social and mobile, out of Kleiner Perkins. He was a founder and main driver of a little company called Electronic Arts. I think he's still got the second highest score on Farmville. Do you, Bing, if I'm not mistaken? And when I interviewed Bing for our upcoming reunion and then talking to him at the reunion, one of the things we were chatting about is Web 3.0 and how everything really is local, social, and mobile. And the most local is this right here, your smartphone, where I'm standing and where you're perhaps watching me, sitting, lying in your bed. It might be late at night. So thanks for inviting me into your smartphone or your tablet. And Bing and I were talking about how a lot of the future, Web 3.0, is going to be on our phones, connected through clever apps that seamlessly are going to bring vast databases in the cloud to us. So your smartphone and you will be grounded, you'll be pinned to a specific spot, and you'll have an app that'll be the intermediary, and then you'll be connected to these vast clouds of information. Now, this is going to be pertinent to my talk, just bear with me a second. And when we talk about this, one of the things we chatted about, and I'm in discussions with Yale about, is an app actually, which we're nominally calling YCOM, which will be a location-based service app to connect the 150,000 or so Yaleys online around the world by way of location and around learning and entertainment. So for example, if you were in St. Mark's Square in Venice and had opted into the app, you could pull it up and you might find there were 15 people in Venice, 15 Yaleys, and you could text them, get together for lunch or dinner. This is not a dating app, it's just a way to connect with your alumni, current students, grad students, faculty. And around learning, the idea would be that if you're taking Physics 101 and you might not be in the right section, or maybe you're taking a course on computers and circuitry on edX or Udacity or Coursera, you could connect up, again by way of the app, with Yaleys around the world who might be taking that same course. And then by way of entertainment, perhaps at any one time, there might be as many as maybe 10,000 Yaleys watching Lincoln or reading Isaacson's Steve Jobs. And so again, you could connect and have a virtual book club, if you will. So that's an app that I'm talking about with Lucas Swineford and some others. I'll be meeting with Doug Hawthorne actually on the 22nd of February about it. And all of this is very relevant to the future of work. And here we go. So, you know, even for Yale grads, and I was talking to the dean of the Amherst Career Center some time ago, you know, one of the top liberal arts schools. I was at the Rethinking Success conference last April down in Wake Forest, where Nathan Hatch, the president, and Andy Chan, head of their new Personal and Career Development Center, are really doing a transformational model about, and in reaction to the fact that a lot of top liberal arts graduates are not finding work. By recent accounts, there's some, 22% of recent college grads are actually not employed, and perhaps as much as another 23% are underemployed, not really doing what they were trained to do. One of the things I've communicated about with President Levin is the fact that there's only about 20% of Yale majors that are STEM majors, whereas at Stanford it's 50%. So one of the things that's really important to recognize here is the tsunami that's coming and how it's going to, this is like a 50-foot wave, and how it's going to dramatically affect the future landscape of work as it hits the shore, if you will. And for those of you who are on Twitter or tweet, I've established a hashtag for my talk on the 21st. The hashtag is # or hashtag sign Yale 21st 21ST, or you can tweet me directly at my Twitter address at 99spring. So what underpins this 50-foot wave, this tsunami that's heading toward the landscape of work, not just here but around the world? And there are 5 critical trends to recognize. 4 of them involve exponential increases in developments. And for those of you who are not STEM majors and who haven't done a lot of math, the nature of an exponential curve is that it starts out very flat, and then it turns at the knee bend, then it goes dramatically up until it gets literally almost vertical. And so we have 4 key areas in which they're in, after the knee bend now, they're in the almost vertical stage of increases. And that's artificial intelligence, robotics, information technologies, machine power, computer processing. So in all 4 of these areas, we are at or after the knee bend in the exponential curve. And so the ramifications of that are startling and significant, and they have been detailed by 2 MIT professors, Brynjolfsson and McAfee, in their book Race Against the Machine, which first came out digitally about a year ago, November. I think it was November of 2011. I urge you to read it. They, in part, were the subject of a recent 60 Minutes segment on Sunday evening, January 13th. If you can find that, it's well worth watching. And they make a compelling argument for how the exponential increases in these areas are going to disintermediate the future landscape of work, and about how we all are going to be working alongside of our robot overlords, as the South Park people like to say. I'm more hopeful that we'll be working alongside them, but who knows? Now, another book you might want to take a look at is Ray Kurzweil's recent book. It just came out in November. It was on the New York Times bestseller list. And it's How to Create a Human Mind, The Secret of Human Thought Revealed. And Kurzweil, who's been incredibly reliable in his predictions in Singularity and in his TED Talks and work, absolutely incredible, brilliant innovator we all owe a debt of gratitude to. But he is predicting that by about 2029, in about 17 years or so, we are going to be able to basically put the neocortex, the human brain, on a hard drive. And it will have access to the world's information seamlessly. And it may become available to us through all kinds of very tiny wearable devices. So, for example, if I make it that long, my 17-year-old son David can, unfortunately, he might be able to, have me along in a non-biologic existence. So after I passed away, he can just call me up on his wearable device and say, Dad, I'm not sure whether I should pursue this venue of nanotechnology or this area of neuroscience. What do you think? And my little human neocortex, now in a hard drive in a non-biologic form, will access the world's information, and I'll give him my thoughts. Not that they'll be worth a lot. So these 4 exponential trends are going to change and disintermediate the current future of work. And when I give my talks on this, I'll often ask the audience, I'll say, so what job is it that you think that robots, deep learning, artificial intelligence, are not going to be able to do, are not going to be able to impact? And typically I get some very first answers in the pattern recognition field, which is a good idea, because up until very recently, and again we're in that knee bend of exponential advancements, pattern recognition hasn't been real strong, and there's still issues with it. But just look at the Google car, which has gone 100,000 miles or plus without accidents. You can Google robots playing ping pong on YouTube and watch robots juggling, playing ping pong, involving sophisticated pattern recognition, playing catch with humans. You can, check out, well, just recall that, Watson prevailed at Jeopardy and Deep Blue beat Kasparov at chess. So in terms of pattern recognition, that game is, well on its way to being over. Now, some people will then immediately jump to kind of the other side and say, well, gosh, we're going to be... I can still work at McDonald's. I mean, I can do fast food hamburgers, but that's not actually correct. If you go to MomentumMachines.com, you'll see their quite incredible new robot that can make custom-ordered hamburgers and bag them or put them on a tray at only the rate of 400 per hour. Momentum Machines. It's going to change probably the economics of the fast food industry. Some people say, well, what about assembling fine, things like iPhones and iPads or other tablets, Foxconn over in Taiwan? And I say, well, right.